it's almost like the extroverts are dancing to a different dance or a different kind of music than the introverts. So they're like, yeah, boom, 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 ding, ding, ping, ping, ping. And then we're waiting for that natural moment where it goes quiet, we can step in. And the moment never comes, right? Because it's just this constant like comments and things flying back and forth. And I know that this has been a challenge for me in the past, and it has been for many introverts that kind of wrote in and responded to my survey. So I'd be interested in how you advise or work with people in situations like that. You know, do you look at it from a kind of energy perspective and say, well, if you've got enough energy, you can just go toe to toe and just see if you can get in the boxing ring and fight the best you can until it's time to relax? Or, are there other strategies that you can perhaps provide to introverts struggling with this?
Again, because of what you said at the start about it being such a spectrum, it can be really different. Like one of my clients comes to mind straight away. She would go toe to toe. She would be straight in there. She would absolutely be willing to be exhausted for 2 hours afterwards because she's got things to say, and she would be happy to do that. But for a lot of clients, the complaint that I get the most is I had a really good idea and it didn't get heard because I was still formulating it. I was in the meeting, I was listening to everything, I was taking in all the input, I was processing it. And the extroverts were going da 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 with all like throwing out a ton of ideas because obviously that's how they process. And they just made a decision and went, and I didn't get to say anything. And that's really sad. And that's something, again, that I think companies need to understand, that the introvert extrovert balance works so well together. It's like the yin and yang. You need the extroverts, you need the brainstorming and the quick inputs and the surface level and the, throwing it all out on the table. But you also need the more introverted way of bringing all that information together and maybe sitting with it and connecting the dots and processing that strategic thinking. So is there an opportunity that you can say, oh, I might have something more to add after the meeting? Can I email that to someone? Or can I add that somewhere? Can I send it? And also for people holding meetings to understand that, when the 30 minutes or whatever is up, don't close the door on other ideas or input, because you might get something drop in and one of your introverts that's absolute gold. Just because it didn't come in right there and then doesn't mean it wouldn't come in, 5 minutes after the end.
I love that. And I love the fact that what you're suggesting is, because quite often, we feel that we have to change. And I think for a lot of people out there, this idea that they've suddenly got to like find a way to bust through the conversation when there's lots of extroverts going at it is overwhelming, worrying, panic inducing. So I like this idea that it's around just trying to find a way to introduce things in a way that's kind of a strength for you, rather than coming off as like, oh, a poor loser because you tried to butt in a few times and then you're like,
forget it. I share a story with you from my own experience that, looking back, I didn't know I was an introvert at this time. But when I first started the training to be an air traffic controller, we had a team building week for our course, and we went to this old manor house, and they brought in this professional team to do different activities with us, and we're put into groups. And I remember this one activity, I was in a group with 4 extroverts, without doubt. And we had an hour to solve this problem. I guess it was like an escape room type-esque problem. And they were doing that. They were going at it, and they were here and they were throwing ideas. And I remember just sitting there, and I could feel them thinking like, oh, she's not even trying. But I was watching it and noticing all of the different things. And after about 45 minutes, I went, I've got the answer. And they were like, what? And I went, it's this. We do this, 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 and this. And it was right. And it solved the problem. But I needed to sit back and observe that and see and make those connections. Whereas, in minute one of the extroverts was going, I know what it is. It's this. And that's great. That works so beautifully together. But I have to be confident in that sitting back and observing, and then, putting it forwards when I'm comfortable with it is the right thing to do.